Welcome back to Double Down University. I'm back with you guys with another MLB prospects video for June the 15th. And today I have two targets for the early games. I have Gunnar Henderson, under 7.5 hitter fantasy score, and also have Bryce Harper, over 8.5 hitter fantasy score. So let's get into it. First, I like to check where they're going to bat at in the lineups, in their respective lineups. So Gunnar Henderson is in the 4th hole, and Bryce Harper is in the 3rd hole. And I'll tell you why those two spots is key coming up. So Gunnar Henderson against lefties. This is a lefty on lefty matchup, so he is batting 200 at home against lefties, which is not good at all. And then also Kikuchi against lefties on the road, he's giving up a 231 batting average. So that's okay. It's not 250 is average, so it's a little below average. So, but another thing is that Kikuchi, he throws a 4-seam, slider, and a changeup. And let's see how Gunnar fares against those 3 pitches. So 4-seam, he bats 224. Slider, he bats 152, which is terrible. And then I think he throws a changeup. So against the changeup, he bats 320, but he don't really throw too many changeups. Curveball, he is batting 294 against the curveball. So I just think that he should be able to get him out. As you can see, Kikuchi is a fly ball pitcher, and Gunnar is he's a fly ball hitter. So that kind of, they both should cancel each other out with them both being fly ball pitchers and hitters. So I really like Gunnar to go under. He has stolen base potential. That's a little scary if he gets on base, but I just don't expect him on base too much, and I don't expect him to score. So at most, I see him getting 3, maybe 5. But even if he gets 5, he still has that wiggle room of he needs extra 3 to be able to cover that fantasy score. But moving on to and then another thing about where he was batting in the lineup. So he's batting in the 4th hole. And Kikuchi against batters in the 4th hole, he gives up a batting average of 185, which is really, really good. So he does well in that spot. The other spots, like the 5th hole, he gives up an batting average of 250. But moving on to the next one. So Bryce Harper gets Ryan Nelson he's going up against. And Ryan Nelson is another guy, like we always target, is a bad hit percentage, hard hit percentage, a bad K percentage, as well as expected batting average and expected slugging. So he throws a 4-seam, cutter, and slider and changeup. His curveball, not too much. Like the curveball and changeup, he throws less, 10% of the time or less than that. Like as you can see, 11% for changeup and 5% for the curveball. But against his top 3 pitches, the fastball, cutter, and slider, let's see how Bryce matches up against that. So fastball, he bats 400. Cutter, he bats 444. And against the slider, I think it's 161. He's always been a bad slider type of hitter, Bryce. But if they makes a mistake and leave it across the middle of the plate, he can hammer it for a home run. So and then let's also go, and I always like to do this, is look at the handedness, and then if they're ever in 0-2 count, what is the main pitch that he relies on the most. And as you can see, to lefties, he rarely throws that curveball or slider. He's only thrown it twice to lefties in 0-2 count, so that just tells you that he relies on his fastball and changeup to be able to get a strikeout or be able to get out of that situation. Most likely a slider or most likely a strikeout, I should say. So I really like this matchup for Bryce. He just profiles really well. And then going a step further, so Ryan Nelson against righties, against lefties. He's a righty against lefties. And the Diamondbacks are at home. Against lefties at home, he's giving up a batting average of 375, which is ridiculous. And then Bryce against righties on the road, he is batting 364, so he just profiles all around really, really well. That's probably why his fantasy score is so high. Normally, I don't like to touch anything over 6.5 for a hitter, because it's just so risky. Because of if he goes 0 for 3, he basically has to hit a home run in order to cover that. So he needs multiple at bats to be able to productive multiple at bats to be able to cover this line. I just think this is a good spot for him. I think the Phillies' projected team total is 4.5, so should be plenty of runs being scored on their side. Hopefully he's in the mix of those runs being scored, or he's the reason why those runs are being scored. So those are my two. I have Gunnar Henderson under 7.5 hitter fantasy score, and Bryce Harper over 8.5 hitter fantasy score. So I appreciate you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.